Hello everyone, welcome to the module on the endocrine system. In this module, we will talk about the adrenal gland and its basic, what hormones it produces and how is it regulated. We will also talk about the various congenital enzyme deficiency leading to different hormonal problems. Okay, the adrenal gland is also called as the suprarenal gland. It's also called as the suprarenal gland because it is present on the superior surface of the kidney or the superior pole of the kidney. Now, the adrenal gland has two parts, the inner medulla and the outer cortex. There is an inner blue medulla which you can see, and there is a outer cortex. It is covered by a capsule. So, adrenal gland is a capsulated gland. The adrenal cortex is derived from the mesoderm, and the adrenal medulla is derived from the neural crest cells. Okay, so adrenal cortex is derived from the mesoderm and the medulla is derived from the neural crest cells. Is it clear? Now let's zoom into the histology of the adrenal gland. Dividing the histology into the cortex and medulla, the cortex is divided into three major layers. The first layer or the outermost layer is called as the zona glomerulosa. The second and the middle layer is called as the zona fasciculata, and the third layer is called as the zona reticularis. Okay, the medulla consists of chromaffin cells. So, this is the zona glomerulosa. This is the real histology image, and this is the schematic diagram. So, this is the zona glomerulosa. This is zona fasciculata, and this one is the zona reticularis. Is it clear? Now, below the zona reticularis, there are chromaffin cells. Is it clear? So, what are the hormones secreted by zona glomerulosa? Those are mineralocorticoids, and the primary mineralocorticoid is aldosterone. So, zona glomerulosa produces aldosterone. Now, the next section, that is the zona fasciculata, produces glucocorticoids, and the primary hormone is the cortisol. So, glomerulosa produces aldosterone, fasciculata produces cortisol. Now, the last section, that is the zona reticularis, produces sex hormones which are androgens, and the primary sex hormone is DHEA, which is dihydroepiandrosterone. Is it clear? So, glomerulosa produces aldosterone, fasciculata produces cortisol, and reticularis produces DHEA. The chromaffin cells of the medulla produces catecholamines. So, the catecholamines are epinephrine and norepinephrine. These are the hormones used in flight and fight situation. That means it is used in various emergency situations. Is it clear? All of these have different regulatory mechanisms. That means aldosterone is regulated mainly by angiotensin II. The release of cortisol and DHEA is regulated by two hormones, that is ACTH, which is adrenocorticotropic hormone, and CRH, that is corticotropin releasing hormone. Is it clear? The medulla produces catecholamines which are regulated by preganglionic sympathetic fibers. Hence, sympathetic and parasympathetic systems plays a part in this. So, we remember the various layers by GFR, that is GFR, which corresponds to salts, that is aldosterone, sugar, which corresponds to glucocorticoids, and androgens, which are sex hormones. Is it clear? Now, let us talk about how are these hormones produced. How is aldosterone, cortisol, and various sex hormones like DHEA, testosterone, and estradiol produced? So, let us just focus first on the production of aldosterone. Okay. So, in the first step of formation of aldosterone, the precursor molecule is cholesterol. So, all the hormones of adrenal gland are produced by cholesterol. Is it clear? All the hormones of adrenal cortex are produced by cholesterol. The cholesterol is converted into pregnenolone by cholesterol desmolase. This is an enzyme. Okay, and cholesterol desmolase is regulated by ACTH and ketoconazole. ACTH is the adrenocorticotropic hormone which supports the cholesterol desmolase activity, whereas ketoconazole is also used as an antifungal, and this is a inhibitor of cholesterol desmolase. So if ketoconazole is used, then this process is inhibited. Is it clear? Now what happens is, in the zona glomerulosa, assume this is the zona glomerulosa of the adrenal cortex. So the cholesterol gets converted to pregnenolone by cholesterol desmolase. The pregnenolone gets converted to progesterone by 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. Is it clear? It is also written as 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. So cholesterol to pregnenolone, pregnenolone to progesterone. From progesterone, it is hydroxylated at the 21st carbon by the enzyme 21 hydroxylation and results in 11-deoxycorticosterone. Is it clear? So the first enzyme is cholesterol desmolase, the second enzyme is 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, third enzyme is 21 hydroxylase. Is also a 21 hydroxylation process. Now this molecule formed in the zona glomerulosa is then again hydroxylated by 11-beta hydroxylation and produces corticosterone. So from 11-deoxycorticosterone there is hydroxylation and there is production of corticosterone. Is it clear? So we'll again repeat: cholesterol to pregnenolone, pregnenolone to progesterone, progesterone to 11-deoxycorticosterone, 11-deoxycorticosterone to corticosterone. Now this corticosterone, by the help of aldosterone synthase, produces aldosterone. So corticosterone is converted to aldosterone by aldosterone synthase, and this is promoted by angiotensin II. Hence, angiotensin is the regulatory mechanism for production of aldosterone. Is it clear? So we'll again just talk about aldosterone that happens in zona glomerulosa by cholesterol, which get converted to pregnenolone, progesterone, 11-deoxycorticosterone, corticosterone, and then aldosterone. And these are the various enzymes. Is it clear? So this is all about the production of aldosterone. Now let us talk about the production of cortisol. Okay. So how is cortisol produced? The first basic step is the conversion of cholesterol to pregnenolone. Then this pregnenolone, by the help of one enzyme, that is 17-alpha hydroxylase, converts pregnenolone to 17-hydroxypregnenolone. By help of 17-alpha hydroxylase, it converts it to 17-hydroxypregnenolone. Is it clear? And this 17-hydroxypregnenolone by 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, that is 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, gets converted to 17-hydroxyprogesterone. So pregnenolone is always converted by 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase to progesterone. So if it is 17-hydroxy, it will be also converted to 17-hydroxyprogesterone. Is it clear? Cholesterol to pregnenolone by cholesterol desmolase. Then pregnenolone is converted to 17-hydroxypregnenolone by 17-alpha hydroxylase. And then this 17-hydroxypregnenolone is converted to 17-hydroxyprogesterone by 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. Is it clear? So from this 17-hydroxyprogesterone, it is converted to 11-deoxycortisol by 21 hydroxylation. Okay. And then by again 11 hydroxylation, it is converted to cortisol. So cortisol is converted into cortisone for the user of body, and it is inhibited by something called as glycyrrhetinic acid. Okay, there's one more drug which is metatripone, which is a inhibitor of 11 beta hydroxylation process, that is conversion of 11 deoxycortisol to cortisol. Is it clear? These are used in different diseases like Cushing syndrome. Now there's one more shown that the progesterone, like pregnenolone, which is converted into 17 hydroxypregnenolone by 17 alpha hydroxylase, even progesterone can be converted into 17 hydroxyprogesterone by 17 alpha hydroxylase. Is it clear? Now what happens is, in the production of androgens, the steps till 17 hydroxypregnenolone or progesterone is same, and then there is a lyase enzyme which acts on these two molecules and produces DHEA or androstenedione respectively. Is it clear? So it again starts with cholesterol, then pregnenolone or progesterone. From there is 17 alpha hydroxylase, which leads to 17 hydroxypregnenolone or 17 hydroxyprogesterone, and then there is a cleavage or a lyase which converts these two into DHEA or androstenedione respectively. Now how is androstenedione converted into estrone? It is by a method of cyclization which uses aromatase as an enzyme. And similarly, androstenedione is converted into estradiol by production of testosterone. Testosterone is an important hormone in the human male body which produces various secondary sexual characters. Okay, so the process from DHEA is it gets converted into androstenedione, which is either aromatized to estrone or gets converted to testosterone. This testosterone gets converted into estradiol by again aromatization reaction. Testosterone can also be converted to dihydrotestosterone by 5-alpha reductase. It is inhibited by a drug which is called as finasteride. Is it clear? So DHE2 androstenedione, which is then aromatized to estrone, or androstenedione is then converted into testosterone, which is aromatized to estradiol. Testosterone can also be converted into dihydrotestosterone by 5-alpha reductase. So is this clear? Aldosterone produced in zona glomerulosa, cortisone produced in zona fasciculata, and androgens produced in zona reticularis. The precursor molecule is cholesterol, and the three important enzymes is 17 alpha hydroxylase, 21 hydroxylase, and 11 beta hydroxylase. Is it clear? Now let us talk about deficiency of these three major enzymes. Okay, which leads to further congenital abnormalities. Now let us talk about the first, that is the 17 alpha hydroxylase. If it is deficient, that means the human body is not able to produce 17 alpha hydroxylase, then the amount of glucocorticoids and androgen will decrease and the amount of mineralocorticoids will increase. Is it clear? Because there is no conversion of pregnenolone or progesterone to its 17 hydroxy form. So if there is a deficiency of this enzyme, the further processes from here are inhibited. Is it clear? Hence, the mineralocorticoid count increases, the cortisol hormone decreases, and the sex hormones also decrease. Since the sex hormone decreases, the lab finding shows decreased androstenedione, and hence the presentation of a male is ambiguous genitalia and the testes don't descend. Is it clear? The presentation in female is lack of secondary sexual character due to decreased production of sex hormones which are estradiol and estrone. Now since the mineralocorticoid is very high, that means the production of aldosterone is very high. Correct? So since the aldosterone is very high, the potassium concentration has to decrease. So is the deficiency of 17 alpha hydroxylase clear? Now let us talk about the second enzyme, which is 21 hydroxylase. Now, what happens in 21 hydroxylase deficiency is there is improper production of aldosterone. That means this step is inhibited. So, there is less production of aldosterone and cortisol. Yes or no? So, there is less production of mineralocorticoids and cortisol. Now, since the mineralocorticoid decreases, that is the aldosterone decreases, there is an increase in the potassium. And similarly, it affects on the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system, and hence there is a decrease in the blood pressure. This is very important. Is it clear? The sex hormones are not dependent on 21 hydroxylation process, and hence there is an increase in the sex hormone. Now, since the aldosterone decreases, there is an increase in the renin activity. To correlate all this, please check the module on renin-angiotensin aldosterone system mechanism. Okay. So, the renin activity increases due to the decrease in the aldosterone, and there is also an increase of 17-hydroxyprogesterone. Now, why is that? Because since this process is inhibited, there is accumulation of 17-hydroxyprogesterone. Is it clear? Hence, mineralocorticoid decreases, potassium increases, blood pressure decreases due to renin activity increasing, cortisol decreases, and sex hormones increase. Now, what are the most common presentations? It is majorly presented in infancy where there is salt wasting, or the children where there is precocious puberty. Okay, so a lot of salt is lost, and there is virilization in female. So always remember that 21 hydroxylase and 11 beta hydroxylase, which ends with 1, show virilization, whereas the enzymes which start with 1, that is 17 alpha hydroxylase and 11 beta hydroxylase, shows increase in the blood pressure. Is it clear? Now let us just talk about the last enzyme, which is the 11 beta hydroxylase. Due to the deficiency of 11 beta hydroxylase, there is an increase in the 11 deoxycortisol. There is decreased production of mineralocorticoids, that is decreased production of aldosterone, but there is an increased production of 11 deoxycortisol. And hence, due to this increased production, it results in high blood pressure. Is it clear? Even here, due to decrease in the renin-angiotensin activity, there is a decreased renin activity due to increased blood pressure. Okay, so if you have to distinguish between 21 hydroxylase and 11 beta hydroxylase, you have to check for the renin activity. The renin activity in 21 hydroxylase is high because the blood pressure goes down, whereas in 11 beta hydroxylase the blood pressure is controlled by 11 deoxycorticosterone, and hence since 11 deoxycorticosterone is high, there is a decrease in the renin activity. Is it clear? About the presentation, it presents again in infancy with severe hypertension or childhood with precocious puberty, and there is virilization. Is it clear? So these are the major congenital adrenal deficiency which are autosomal recessive disorders and are characterized by skin hyperpigmentation. This is very important. This is always presented by skin hyperpigmentation. Why? Because ACTH and MSH, that is melanocyte producing hormone, that is melanocyte stimulating hormone, is co-produced and hence affect each other's action. And there is bilateral adrenal hypertrophy due to increase in ACTH stimulation. Is it clear? So how do you remember? If there is a deficient enzyme which starts with 1, that is 17 alpha hydroxylase and 11 beta hydroxylase, it can cause hypertension, that is increase in the blood pressure. Whereas if the deficient enzyme ends with 1, that is 21 hydroxylase or 11 beta hydroxylase, it will cause virilization in females. Is it clear? This is all about the adrenal gland. The pathology of the adrenal gland will be covered in a different module. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click on the like button and do subscribe to this channel. Let me know in the comment section below which topics do you want me to explain. Thank you.